be an out.
Welcome to the March 16th hearing of the Land Use and Ethics Subcommittee. Today we'll be reviewing 3 bills, HB 226 from Delegate Robin Lewis, HB 485 from Jared Solomon, HB 464 from Montgomery County Delegation and Prince George's County Delegation. Let's start with 226 and 464 because those are bills that we heard last year, and I believe they are in the same posture as last year. And welcome everyone. So HB 226 brought by Delegate Robin Lewis has to do with funding from our traffic monitoring systems. We just heard this bill last week, I believe. It just authorizes Baltimore City to use any fines collected by Baltimore City as a result of violations from our, automatic enforcement in a certain way, and requires any remaining funds to be used for public safety or transportation infrastructure consistent with the goals in the new Complete Streets program that Baltimore City passed as of yesterday. This is a bill that we passed last year out of committee. Any discussion?
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor of a favorable motion on HB 226, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. Okay. Next is House Bill 464. This is a bill from the Montgomery County Delegation and the Prince George's County Delegation having to do with mandatory referral through the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. It's really difficult for me to say the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and my last bill of my tenure here may be to rename that. No, just kidding. So this bill establishes guidelines for a complete submission referral to the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission for specified activities in the Maryland-Washington regional, and creates timelines and the feedback required of the commission following the receipt of their referral. This was you all know, MNCPPC is a bi-county agency. And this has to do with just explaining what a complete submission is before things are approved. Any discussion of this bill?
Move favorable.
Favorable, Madam Chair.
Second.
Yeah. Great. All those in favor of the favorable motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
No,
No.
only because MDOT's opposed.
Okay. Two opposed, Delegate Clark and Delegate Weibel. Thank you. This is a local bill. Great. So 485. So 485 is a bill that was brought to us by Delegate Solomon. We approved a bill, we moved favorable on a bill similar to this last year. This one has some additional amendments. And so I'm going to ask Matt, poor Matt, who has been an amazing stalwart through the amendments process, to walk us through the amendments. You received an email earlier today with the final set of amendments. There was one portion of the bill was struck in that final amendment. You'll see the lines through it if you're looking through it. It was sent while we were on the floor. So Matt, would you do me a favor and just help us walk through the bill or the amendments?
Sure. And actually, if you have the amendment document, which is just the amendment, not the reprint, which I believe you would have received in the first email of the day, I'll be referring to the amendment numbers there.
Okay.
The first amendment is technical, makes changes the purpose paragraph and function paragraphs, and also makes the act an emergency measure. Amendment number 2 is an amendment that the last time this bill was before the subcommittee was discussed, and it strikes provisions establishing that certain municipal planning organizations shall staff the Public-Private Partnership Oversight Review Board, and establishes certain credit and risk analyses of contracts under a P3 agreement with a value that exceeds $500 million shall be performed by a financial advisor chosen by the Treasurer's Office. Amendment number 3 requires that for a P3 that is proposed to be developed in separate phases, the reporting agency submit a separate pre-solicitation report for each phase, and establishes that the sum of the total value of each phase shall be used for calculating the value of the P3 for the purpose of the various reporting and review requirements in the bill. Amendment number 4 is part of amendment number 2 and strikes intent language with regard to municipal planning organizations. That's the language that would have required that it was intent language for compensation for the MPOs when they're serving in their capacity. Amendment number 5 requires a certain traffic analysis on the traffic patterns and volumes of I-495 and I-270. Amendment number 6 extends a sunset provision allowing the Maryland Transportation Authority to recall certain toll debts issued to the Central Collection Unit. And then the one amendment that Delegate Learman referenced that's not in that original amendment is in this version 2 document. It says version 2 on the first page that I sent out. Apologize, I just was not able to produce this in time, so I had to hand strike the language. The amendment strikes sections 3 and 4 from the bill, and this was a reporting requirement and prohibition against asset recycling. This was language that was in the bill as introduced. However, it was not the intent to reintroduce that language. That's my understanding from the sponsor. And those are the amendments.
Great, thank you. Any questions on the amendments?
Move the amendments, Madam Chair.
Have a second?
One question,
Sure.
again, the 500 million is that, how did we come up with the 500 million? Where'd that number come from?
That number was actually already in statute. There's a delineation in statute. If you're on the bill, it's on page 4 of the bill. If the total value of a proposed public-private partnership reported in the PSR, the pre-solicitation report of this subsection exceeds $500 million, the budget committees can request additional time to review the pre-solicitation report. So many years ago, there was a process was created. There was a commission, they looked at how to create this P3 process, and this law resulted from that commission and study. In that commission and study, and in the original law that was passed, they made a $500 million as a breaking point. I'm not sure exactly how they came up with that as the break point, but it's a lot of money. So $500 million was the break point at which they thought, okay, if it's a $500 million project, you're going to need some extra time to figure out the details of this project. So the sponsor, Delegate Solomon, when he introduced this bill last year, just rather than introducing a new number, just went, sort of ran with that $500 million as the point of which we should be doing even more extensive review of the P3. I don't know if Matt has anything to add. That's my understanding.
That was generally my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Could I ask a question as well?
Of course.
Do any of the amendments change any of the testimony because we have quite a few folks who are unfavorable? Baltimore Metropolitan Council or Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments.
It should take, so both of the COGs, the BMC and WashCog, were opposed because they didn't want to be in the bill, and we've taken them both out. So
is MDOT's position still the same?
I believe so.
But does the Chamber of Commerce still opposed?
I would imagine.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on the amendments? Okay, we have a motion to the amendments. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor on the amendments signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Great. On the bill as amended, any questions?
Move the bill
As amended.
as amended.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed.
No.
Delegate Weigel and Delegate Clark are opposed. Thanks. Okay. That takes care of our agenda for today and our work for today. We will need to meet again this week. So Feel free to text me if there are things you absolutely cannot miss later in the week, but I think we'll probably be just trying to fit this in either between floor sessions on Thursday or early in the morning before the first floor session on Thursday, just sort of depending on how things are going and how the schedule is looking for all the other subcommittees that we're all on. So, let's just open lines of communication, and Danny and I will get to you as soon as possible. If there are any bills that are in this subcommittee that are yours that haven't moved, please feel free to reach out to me. If you have concerns or you're working on a bill, and you just want me to hold it to make crossover, we can still keep working on bills. I'm happy to hold it, and so that we can keep working on it as well. But just let me know. I'm here for you guys. Okay. Anything else? Cool. Okay. Well, have a good one, and I will see you in 45 minutes.